Hello, and welcome to Rock the Cash Bar. I'm Ben Mowbray.
And I'm Dianne Gallagher.
Every week, we pick one song and do a deep dive into the lyrics and explore the different ways they've been interpreted.
We will also discuss how the song connected to us on a personal level, focusing on all the embarrassing details.
Glad to have you here. Now enjoy the show. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word, life. It means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you there's something else. The afterworld. A world of never-ending happiness. You can always see the sun, day or night. So when you call up that shrink in Beverly Hills, you know the one, Doctor, everything will be all right. Instead of asking him how much of your time is left, ask him how much of your mind, baby. Dianne, how much of your mind is left?
I'm going to be calling up my shrink who lives in Friendswood tomorrow. I'm running on about 3%, and I'm going to hurt my child.
That's my starting to feel. I've got some brain rot going on. Like I'm a nicotine, caffeine, quarantined libertine today. I don't mean to be too graphic, but it's like my brain has shit my skull, and I'm afraid that others are beginning to smell it.
Well, I'm glad we're on Zoom then. I'm so sorry. Isn't it weird how the beginning of this quarantine, I was like, oh, I can do this. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. And like now I think it's day 34 and that's a long time to be with a 5-year-old all day, every day.
It's a long time to do anything. Like I don't know how I'm going to like relate to people again. You know, like I went to the corner store today. And it was like you have to remind yourself, like, oh, no, they're not strangers. They're just friends that you haven't met yet. Friends who are wearing surgical masks and vinyl gloves, and they'd prefer it if you stayed 6 feet away and not make any eye contact, even though that's the only recognizable human part you can see these days.
Yeah, it's so weird. And it was fun at first. And now I'm kind of like, okay, how long are we doing this?
I'm done with the surreality. When did reality want to treat me or want me to treat it so respectfully? Hello, surreality. All right, that's a dumb joke, and I apologize. Obviously, today's song is going to be Let's Go Crazy by Prince. So let's go crazy, everybody. Come on. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I do want to get nuts, but I am going to pause you on the getting nuts and bring it down just a second because I want to do our segment Dressed Up Like a Douche, but we are not going to take one from a listener, a misheard lyric from a listener this time. We are going to dedicate this segment to the late John Prine, who passed away April 7th, 2020 from the coronavirus at 73 years old. We will probably do a John Prine song as the song of the week for sure in the future. I'm just too sad to do it now. Plus, we told you we were going to bring you a happy song, and we are. But instead of telling his greatest story about someone misunderstanding one of his song lyrics, I'm just going to play a clip of him telling it. Hopefully, we don't get in trouble for this. If so, we'll take it down. But here we go. Enjoy this clip from John Prine.
I was playing in this club in San Francisco. And this girl come up to the stage. So I leaned over and asked her what I could do for her, and she said, would you please sing that song of yours about the happy enchilada? And I said, geez, I've never written a song about any kind of enchilada, let alone a happy enchilada. I said, you might have me confused with somebody else. She said, no. She said, you wrote a song about a happy enchilada. I said, well, how's it go? And she says, it's a happy enchilada, and you think you're going to drown. I said, I'm glad you like the words.
Rest in peace, John Prine. You're an American original. You're going to be missed. Thank you for leaving behind everything that you left behind.
But it did end on a funny note. A happy enchilada is hilarious to me. So with that, Ben, let's get crazy.
Let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. I always like, speaking of like misheard lyrics, like now when I hear that, like, let's go crazy, it's like, let's go crazy. Hips don't lie. Shakira picked that one up for you, buddy. I love that song. I love Prince. I love the party atmosphere of it. Let's Go Crazy is the greatest opener ever, don't you think?
I do. It's a no-fail opener.
Yeah, it's got to fill you with confidence. Like you and I, back in our bottom rung of the stand-up days, when you'd be standing in the wings waiting for the host to call your name, you'd be like nervous, like you don't know which way it's going to go. If you had an opener as good as Let's Go Crazy in your back pocket, you would be filled with nothing but confidence. You would know that you're just going up there to rock the room. Like, I'm so jealous of Prince's ability to write that for himself.
Yep. Just to immediately get the audience hype and on your side. You've gained their trust, and they're gonna take it easy on you for whatever you have after that. So he nailed it. He knew what he was doing.
As soon as you say it, like you say, dearly beloved, like you got their attention. Like they're there.
Yep.
They're there with you. They know where it's going. I love it. It's my favorite thing ever. And it opens up Purple Rain too.
The movie. Yes.
Yeah, the movie Purple Rain. Which, by the way, the guy who plays Prince in Purple Rain is hilarious. He's just unbelievably. I don't know how he did it. He should have won an Academy Award for that. I don't know the actor's name. It was amazing. More punchline. All right.
So, do you have any issues with the duality of Prince being super religious and super duper sexual at the same time?
No, I admire it. I
Okay.
admire it greatly. Like his blending of sex and spirituality is a necessary thing. I think, like specifically for men, like it's true. Like, we're just gross things. Our desires, our impulses are wired horribly, horribly wrong. If you don't blend it with some sense of morality or some sense of spirituality, then you're going to get yourself into some very, very bad situations, right? You don't blend sex and spirit, like picture the Venn diagram. If you don't blend sex and spirituality, you're going to be, like a dirty old man, or you're going to be a frigid old fool. So you got to bring it together. And when that Venn diagram comes together, it does look kind of like a vagina. It really does.
Thanks for ruining Venn diagrams for me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It will always be where it meets in the vagina. Yeah, I guess you're right. It brings about a level of trust once they come together like that.
Mm-hmm. Trust, a sensual feeling, never trust. I put this question to you because that was the first time I think I knew about Prince was the Batman soundtrack. Like, I was 9 years old watching that. I was like, who is this guy?
Oh my gosh. That's the opposite is me. For some reason, I think I was in second grade. I was obsessed with the song 1999. And I know what it was. My cousin Dee Dee was obsessed with Prince, and she had a Prince shirt that had the lyrics to 1999 on the back of the shirt. And I took it and wrote the lyrics down on my chalkboard in my room. And I memorized. I was dreaming when I wrote this. Forgive me if it goes astray. I had that memorized. So that was my Prince introduction.
New Year's Eve, 1999. That was a big moment.
Yeah. What did you do New Year's Eve, 1999?
New Year's Eve, 1999, I was at a house party. I was a waiter at the Olive Garden, and I went to a house party that one of the other, I think like the bartenders were hosting it or something like that. And I was excited. I was 19, or I was going to be 19 pretty soon. And, we were drinking beer and doing bad stuff. I was 18. And there was a guy there who played in a band. He was a guitarist in a local band that we used to go see. And I kind of cornered him. And they're playing 1999 over and over again. And I wanted to show him that I was interested in music, but I was also humble. And I could talk to him. I was asking him, just like, well, how do you know? Like, I don't know anything about music. How do you, how could I tell? Like Prince is obviously a great songwriter, but Huey Lewis is kind of laughable and dismissible. Like, what's the difference between that? And he says to me, like, man, you just gotta listen to it. I was like, yeah, but, and I start using like words and phrases that I don't really understand. I was like, yeah, but I don't know anything about chord progressions. I don't know anything about time signatures. I'm not a musician. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I can listen to Prince and I know that it's good. And then I listen to Huey Lewis and I'm told that it's bad. Like, how do I find out what the difference is? And he just goes, you just got to listen to it, man. And then he walked away. He was just gone. And it was like the first time in my life, like I remember just like honestly just thinking, well, that guy knows I'm an idiot. There's nothing I can do about that now.
He either knew you were an idiot or he was an idiot himself. He's just like, I don't know. I don't know. This guy thinks I know. You just gotta listen to it, man. You just gotta listen to it.
He was a guitarist in a local band, man. He couldn't have been an idiot. He was the coolest guy in the room.
I wonder how
I
he's doing
screwed
now.
it up.
But I think there's a lot of people that argue with you about Huey Lewis. I mean, apparently he was great. I mean, I definitely like Prince more, but he has his fans.
I wouldn't know yet. Huey Lewis's fans, including, the great, what's the psycho killer from American Psycho?
Oh, Christian Bale?
Christian Bale, huge Huey Lewis fan, obviously.
Interesting bit of trivia. I'll keep that one in my trivia bank. So, okay. I didn't make the connection to this song, but apparently as far as the internet says, Let's Go Crazy, the lyrics are about getting through life and the battle against evil, Satan being the de-elevator. We are encouraged to not allow the devil to break us down and instead turn to God to help us by going crazy and punching a higher floor, in parentheses, God. Do you get that from this song?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the elevator is a great metaphor because it's a simple binary. Like you go up to an elevator bank, you're either going up or down. Like that's it. You make your choice right there. Elevators, unfortunately, do not go side to side. It would be fun if they did. Like I absolutely, I buy that completely. And I also think because the song is set up with the big church organ intro and the big Dearly Beloved, so it's obviously meant to be,
A sermon.
Yeah, a sermon, a gathering and introduction, an invocation.
And then it turns into Church Gone Wild.
Exactly. Did you go to church when you were a kid?
I had to go to like vacation Bible school a few times when my parents just wanted to get rid of me for a week in the summer. And every now and then on a holiday, we claimed to be Baptist, but my parents weren't really that religious, and neither me or my mom are religious at all anymore.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in a very religious family either. My dad was from Northern Ireland, which is, has some problems with religion, you might have heard.
Yeah.
So I think he moved out of there. I was just like, hey, no, I see where that story ends. I get it. I want to really be any part of it. My mom was a little different. She likes to go to church, Christmas Eve, but we didn't go very often when I was a kid. So I don't have that. Like you read musicians' biographies and things, and they talk about how they fell in love with music, while sitting on the church pews and listening to the choir. That was the first time they learned how to be moved by music. I can't really relate to that at all. I can picture it, but it's
it makes me incredibly jealous. I didn't grow up in Black church. I mean, what a party. I mean, I think I would feel Jesus a little more if I'd grown up in Black church. Definitely would understand music a little better than I do.
Yeah, there's an enthusiasm there that I don't think you find in largely white congregations. Certainly wouldn't find it in the kind of Anglican churches that I went to. You find something different. You find like the more, I don't know what to call it, the more remorseful.
Yeah.
You don't have that level of, okay, no, this can be a party. You can have, there is the other side of it.
Mine was a bull ring with my grandma. Did not enjoy it. I enjoyed the fellowship. I enjoyed shaking hands with everybody and everybody telling my grandmother how cute I was. I like that part.
Right. But that's what's exciting about the blend of sex and spirituality that Prince brings around. Like, it makes me think about experiences like that I never had. Like, I imagine if you're, an 11 or 12-year-old boy and you're, putting on your Sunday best and your nice suit and everything like that, and mom is combing your hair and telling you how handsome you look. And then you go to church and there are 12 and 13-year-old girls in their nice dresses and all pink and curly and frilly. Like, I imagine those, like, oh, what is this? Imagine that excitement kind of building within you. And then, and maybe turning you into somebody like Prince. Like, obviously you'd have to be a genius. You have to put the work in. But
well, okay, before we get into the lyrics, it just reminded me of a story my friend told me, and I will keep her name out of it. But she was a virgin and very, very serious into church, probably still is, but she told us that she was a camp counselor at a religious, it was a, like a church camp where they, were in charge of all these little kids, and they talked about abstinence all day long. And so she was obsessed with it. And so she lost her virginity at church camp with another church camp, which is my favorite thing. So yes, sex and church go together really well.
Yeah,
Oh,
my first kiss was at a church camp, and I think it was for pretty much the same reasons. Like they weren't like really preaching abstinence at us, but we were there for a week in the summer, and it was the one week that they had to really sort of drum it into your head. And you could, looking back on it now, I could feel that like it was a nice summer camp that like a nice local couple had put on, and it was like $15 a week or something dirt cheap
wow.
to send your kid to go to it. So it was definitely something that the church was paying for. And you could feel it, like you could feel like this is our opportunity to reach ears and people that we don't usually reach. And it was an all boys camp, but they had a couple of girls who were a little bit older than us that were like there, keeping things clean and working in the kitchen and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into that kind of stuff. Yeah, either way, like they weren't, like I was probably 11 and these were volunteers were probably 14 or 15. So, but yeah, I remember like all the boys were trying to get the attention of the one girl that was there. And she ended up kissing me one night. She probably had a lot of first kisses that week, but I remember mine. Like, I don't know if that was like a busy summer for her. It certainly feels that way looking back on it, but it was still special to me.
That's great. All right, with all of this in mind, all of this sex and Jesus, let's get into the lyrics of Let's Go Crazy. So you gave the first part of the sermon, which ends with ask him how much of your mind, baby. Because in this life, things are much harder than in the afterworld. In this life, you're on your own. And then he goes, and if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy. Punch a higher floor.
Mm-hmm. And that's right. Like I imagine it's the exalted spirit, where that feeling that you get when you're just like, okay, I have this choice. Like I can wallow in this, or I can explode. You know, I can let the good feelings out.
Yeah.
Which can really only be done by a good Prince bass line. Got to get it out of there.
All right. If you don't like the world you're living in, take a look around. At least you got friends. Which is sad if you don't.
Yeah.
Person like, well, okay, scratch X. I don't have that.
You're not right now, friends. I'm lonely. I'm cooped up in my house and I'm lost. I don't have friends. It's the absence of friends right now. Come on, lady, for a friendly word. She picked up the phone, dropped it on the floor. Is all I heard.
Okay, so we have a difference of opinion on this. I think he tried to phone sex her, and you think...
I don't think Prince phone sexes. Although phone sex with Prince would be fantastic. Prince would play all your instruments. Yes, he would.
Are we gonna let the elevator bring us down? Oh no, let's go.
Oh no, let's go. One of my favorite things about when a song like Let's Go Crazy comes on, I'm a bartender. When I'm working in the bar, like you look around and you can wait, like somebody's gonna sing it. Like somebody is waiting for their chance to blurt out, oh no, let's go. That's my favorite thing about it. Like I know I'm gonna get along with the oh no, let's go guy. However, when Jane Says by Jane's Addiction comes on, and it's the she takes a swing that she can't hit. The guy who's sitting around waiting to go, she can't hit, he's an asshole. Always, 100% of the time.
Ben, that's me. Always that asshole. Also, I mean, it's so cool to be a Jane's Addiction fan. And I'm always looking around like, where are my people at? Where are my Jane's Addiction fans at? All right. Diane's a douchebag.
I was at a chili cook-off probably a couple of months ago now. And so it's like a bunch of people like over 40 getting beer drunk in the middle of the afternoon. And they were playing Jane's Addiction. And all I could think about was like, it was the coolest, most rebellious music in the late 80s. Like I remember like feeling like, oh, I finally arrived, like when I bought my first Jane's Addiction album. And now it's just 40-year-old people getting beer drunk at a chili cook-off.
I know. I had the Jane's Addiction Nothing Shocking t-shirt with the two naked flaming girls on it. Yep. And I got brave and wore it to school the last day of 8th grade. And I made it to about 3rd period when someone noticed and was like, turn it inside out. You cannot have that at school.
Yeah.
But I made it.
Every time I think of Prince, I think of junior high school dances. Like that's where I got into it. Like I'm 40 years old. So when I started going to junior high school dances, like Cream was a big song. Seven was a big song. Diamonds and Pearls was a big song.
Kinky.
Like I always think of my junior high school dances when I think of him. Like because mine were really awkward. Like I grew up on the frozen plains of Canada. What part of Canada are you from? The cold and lonely part. That's my favorite joke. But we would go there and be like we were like literally out on the plains. Like there was no city or anything like that. We're literally out amongst cow pastures and bush. So we're not the coolest kids at all.
Is it a bunch of white kids?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just about almost 100% white. There were a couple of First Nations kids that went to school with us. First Nations is what you might call Native Americans.
Wow, I did not know Canada called them something else.
No, it's First Nations. Native Americans that's not acceptable. It's First Nations.
Whoa, learn something new. Okay. Well, my junior high dance experiences were very, very different than Ben's. I went to a very urban junior high and high school. So our dances, and I'm a little bit older than you, so the music may be a little bit different, but I will just say this. Little white kids are afraid to hit the dance floor. Little black kids, not afraid to hit the dance floor. So if you wanted your turn to dance, you just had to get in there with them. And we had to learn how to bump and grind really fast. And we did. It was very highly inappropriate. I know that the what do you call it? Not the sponsors, the teachers and the parents that go to watch and make sure nothing bad happens. What's the word?
Chaperones.
Chaperones.
Yeah.
Chaperones were freaking out because I just have vivid memories of like my friend, I won't say her name, but she had her legs spread apart and then her hands completely on the ground. And then the guy behind her just had his crotch up against her butt and they were just going at it. And I know like my principals and vice principals were like, God, no, you're 12.
I can't believe it. There's nothing like when at my 12-year-old junior high school dance, like we did like the slow dance song. Like what was a big song back? Oh, this from Robin Hood, the Bryan Adams tune.
Oh,
that was really
everything
everything I do it for you. So Bryan Adams slept with Princess Diana. Sorry, moment of Canadian pride. Got to point it out. But what we would do is like, if I was slow dancing, I would put my hands on the girl's shoulders, and she would put her hands kind of underneath my shoulders, like kind of like by the armpits, and then we would just do this like zombie dance, this arm's length removed hug, where we would just go like back and forth, swaying from side to side.
Well, awkward Frankenstein.
Dancing. Exactly, awkward Frankenstein.
Okay, we did do that too. They did, the DJ at our school dances had to try to please everybody. So he would play some country and then some popular slow songs. And yes, I had the same Frankenstein dance with one of my friends. And I wanted to get closer to him. And he was doing the Frankenstein arm thing. And I did not realize until later it was because I developed early. I had big boobs when I was 12. And I think he was terrified of them touching his chest.
I doubt he was terrified. I'm sure he was just petrified with nervousness. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not necessarily fear. It's just like, I just don't know what to do. I mean, come on, I'm 12 years old. That's why they pile us into the gym anyway. It's like, okay, you got to learn this stuff. You might as well figure it out while Bryan Adams is crooning his treacly love songs at you.
Okay, the listeners are probably like, get back to the song. Okay. Are we going to let the elevator bring us down? Oh no, let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. We have different lyrics here. I have, let's look for the purple banana till they put us in the truck. Let's go. And you thought, you say.
That makes a hell of a lot more sense than my let's look for the purple bandana.
I don't know. They both make sense. I mean, yes, Prince wore purple and he wore lots of scarves and lots of clothing.
And a lot of dildos are purple. I don't think that's any accident. I'm not saying that that's a credit to Prince, but it's certainly not taking anything away from him either.
And apparently I learned from you a few weeks ago that purple surprise, that just penises are purple.
Do you want to back up?
Oh, was my phrasing?
Try that one more time.
Was my phrasing bad? We recorded an episode as practice a long time ago, and we did Friday I'm in Love, and he says dressed up to the eyes, it's a purple surprise, and Ben's like, you know what that means? And I was like, no. And he explained to me that a purple surprise is the people. And I was like, what?
My girlfriend's gonna listen to this and then wake me up in the middle of the night like, what was that about?
And you're like, keep listening. So purple bandana, banana, I mean, whatever it is, it's kinky. Yes.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Like, it's Prince, it's gonna be kinky. There's no doubt about it. That guy was nothing but sexual. He could have had the other half of my virginity. He could have.
Mine too. It's so bizarre how this tiny, I mean, he's like 2 inches taller than me and probably weighs half of my weight and just exudes such a ridiculous amount of sexy.
Just a crazy amount of confidence. Like, can you imagine? He signed his first record deal apparently when he was 18 years old, which is insane because like when you're an artist, if you're a writer or you're a musician or something like that, you need to acquire a certain level of experience in order to be able to communicate the emotions that you're feeling to other people who have been through the same thing that you've been through. An 18-year-old is just not capable of that. Like, you have to be a prodigy on the instruments. Like, you have to be able to write and craft songs. You have to be more or less born into it. And his dad was,
it makes me believe in reincarnation and old souls, where I was like, oh, this isn't his first time through. He's done this so many times and he's just perfecting it each time he goes. But yeah, Prince was a child prodigy. He learned to play over a dozen instruments before the age of 15, which is crazy. I couldn't even figure out how to play the C chord on a guitar at 15. I couldn't do it.
I don't have the patience for any of it. Like even once you know how to play those instruments, the patience that it takes for songwriting is crazy. I was reading about Prince writing Purple Rain, and he said, "Oh, we just apparently the band kept going over it and over and over again, and they said over the course of it was only like 6 or 7 hours, and then we basically had the song exactly the way we wanted it." And I thought, "There's no way. Like, I couldn't spend 6 or 7 hours going over the same 4-minute progression again and again and again until we got it just the way that we want it." Like, if you're going to be a great musician, you have to have that really obsessive personality. Like, you have to just hone in on it and go, this is good and this is what we're working on right now. Nobody lose focus.
I'm trying to think about in terms of comedy, we do it in a lot less condensed form. Like, we try to perfect and rewrite a joke, which we do on stage over and over and over and over. But I can't imagine getting my joke to the very last perfect version of it in 6 hours. I mean, that just doesn't exist in our world.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of does, because you have if you have the same 2 lines, like, you're trying to get to the switch, you're trying to get to what's the best way to in the first line create the deception and hide the punchline, and then in the second line, what's the best way to deliver the shocking result, right? Like, to me, like, I've always thought to myself that a joke is just a lie punctured by the truth. Is what so when's the best point to bring in that that punch,
right?
It's the hardest thing in the world. But I know plenty of comics that'll just spend whole days just pacing around or going on long walks and just like, oh no, I'm a writer, and they'll come back and instead of 5 pages a day or 6 pages a day that novelists try to get to, a comic would just be like, I have these 2 lines and they're fucking perfect.
Yeah. But usually you have to try it on a crowd to see if you're right. Because I've had things that I thought were perfect and they were perfect in my head. And then I go and say them at an open mic and I was like, well, back to the drawing board. That was not it.
That's my favorite thing about stand-up is the risk that you take. Like, it doesn't matter how subtle you are or how good you are. Like, every comic takes that risk where the rim shot is supposed to be. Where they give the punchline, it's like, ta-da! No laughter. You're gonna look like an idiot. Like,
no laughter, and you're like, you just want to be like, fuck.
Yeah. I think that's the shortcut that I took by trying to be like the ranting, raving, energy, momentum-based comic. Was just like, I was just afraid of that moment. Like, if it doesn't work out, if I drop the punchline and the laugh isn't there, I couldn't take the risk.
Oh, God. All right. We're all excited, but we don't know why. Maybe it's because we're all going to die.
Hard to relate to that one right now.
Seriously. I mean, I don't think we're all going to die right now, but I will admit this was a little exciting in the beginning, but we are just not allowed to go crazy and party it up. We have to be like, all right, dance alone in your living room.
Yeah, you got to keep the clamps on. That's the difficult thing about being quarantined. It's like you have that desire to get up and like, oh, I'm exploding with it. Like I can't wait to get back out. I can't wait to get back out into the bar again. I can't wait to get back to seeing everybody. I don't know how I'm going to react when I do it. It's going to be really, really strange because I'm like my brain is hairy and slimy and weird. I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to connect with anybody again. We're going to give it a try.
Speaking of, and when we do, what's it all for? What's it all for? You better live now before the Grim Reaper comes knocking on your door.
What? No, let's go.
So, okay. Tell me, are we going to let the elevator bring us down? Oh no, let's go. Diane's going to do a thoughts from the bong moment. I don't feel like enough people put this together, but Prince keeps saying we're not going to let the elevator bring us down. And the horrible irony is that Prince died in an elevator in his Paisley Park compound.
Oh.
Feels a little, irony isn't even the word, like foreshadowing. Did he know? Is Prince divine? Did he know his future?
Is it that grim? Like I don't mean to be like, I don't mean like to be too confessional, but I am a guy who's I don't do any kind of drugs or anything like that, but I am a heavy drinker, and I've had nights where I've kind of like gone over the high side, where you just kind of cling to. I don't mean to get too into the bong rip here either, but it really wouldn't surprise me if Prince had accidentally overdosed, and that really was his last thought. It was just like, I have to get to the elevator because that's the final bit of poetry.
Oh, that's amazing.
It really wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, I don't mean to bring anybody down. I bet he pressed the top floor when he got in there. It's like, I don't mean to be grim. I'm sorry, but I really did like it. That is something that I honestly feel like that is something that he could have been thinking in his last.
The last little punchline, and like, look, watch this.
That's like it's his last expression. Just like no, like okay, got to get to the elevator. Like I could definitely see that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be grim. I'm sorry to bring everybody down. It's a terrible thing to say. I apologize.
Well, if you listen to the song, the rest of the lyrics are basically ramping everybody to get more and more nuts. It's more, let's go crazy, let's get nuts, more looking for that purple bandana. Come on, baby, let's get nuts. And then it's like building up to this crescendo, like it gets more and more crazy, more let's go. And then that last little chunk, Doctor Everything, it'll be all right, will make everything go wrong. Pills and thrills and daffodils will kill. Hang tough, children.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an argument on he's coming, and people will say, no, he's saying, please come. But I think it's he's coming, which,
it might be both. Like there's absolutely no reason why it can't be both. Like he could certainly, like in a live version, he could certainly alternate back and forth. He's coming, please come. Like absolutely. And like Prince with all of his outward sexuality, like your orgasm is every bit as important to Prince as Prince's orgasm is to him. It's important. Sure. Like he would definitely ask you, like, oh no, go ahead.
Yes.
This is your time.
Well, here's where the religious aspect is so funny to me, because when you read on message boards, people are saying he's coming, meaning Jesus is coming. And I was like, no, he is talking about sex right now. And then because after he says he's coming, there's this final guitar riff at the end that is extremely orgasmic and long. Mm-hmm. And then he yells, take me away. And then it's over.
There you go. But it doesn't, like, in my mind, it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like it can be both in the same moment. Like he could really be intending both of those things.
Why am I so uncomfortable with that? I'm like, ugh, I don't want Jesus in my sex.
Let a little Jesus into your sex. It'll be all right.
Well, from all the paintings I've seen, he was a very good-looking Middle Eastern man. Done some manual labor in his time. He was pretty cut.
But that's the like honestly, that's the moment of ecstasy, you know, like you'll see the word ecstasy in Christian texts almost as often as you see it in Penthouse magazine. Like, and
Right.
there's a reason for it. It's because that's the closest really that we're ever going to get until you actually experience the divine. Like it's
Right.
it's the highest and holiest thing on earth if you do it right and if you're responsible about it, which is kind of what Prince is sort of there to teach us, I think. You know, a guy like that, a devout Jehovah's Witness who came to it, you know, later in life, is definitely there to teach the kids, like, these are the emotions and you're going to have to learn how to handle them. And I am a wild man in my wild purple shirts and my weird ruffles. You know, I'll show you how to get there. Every now and again, I might have a big, you know, explosion that your parents aren't going to like, but it's
Yeah, I mean,
important that
how do
you
you think?
understand these
How do you think you got here, children?
One way or the other. And that's the DJ's job. It's Prince's job first, but then it's the DJ's job to teach it to you. Like the DJ at your junior high school dance. I always like thinking about the DJ at my junior high school dance. Like, what's his life really like? Like, our dance was in the afternoon, like 1:00 in the afternoon. So that guy's got to get up at like 10:30 in the morning. Like, what's he got? Like, he's got to get his albums together. He wakes up. He gets himself out of the tangled pile of supermodels that I'm sure the junior high school DJ is sleeping in. He's a gentleman. He's going to check every limb for a pulse before he gets up and leaves the bed. He gets over to his emergency line of cocaine. They're like, all right, I got to go rock some 12-year-olds. I got to go give it to the 12-year-olds. I have some wisdom to impart.
Oh my gosh. I wonder if he'll play the flip side of Let's Go Crazy was Erotic City.
It was? I didn't know that.
That's so crazy. It's Erotic City. It's not that sexuality is non-Christian, but generally speaking, dropping F-bombs and singing lyrics like "You're a sinner, I don't care, I just want your creamy thighs" isn't something you usually see associated with religious texts. So I just have a struggle here.
And it's all right that you're struggling with it. Like, you're supposed to. Like, that's the intention. Like, that's clearly what he's trying to do. He's trying to build that tension. He's trying to build that struggle between your moral side and your fun side, your sex and sensuality side. Like, how do you reconcile those things? And you must reconcile them somehow.
Well, you know, whenever he did become a Jehovah's Witness in the late 90s, in accordance with faith, he stopped using profanity in his performances and recordings after his conversion.
Really?
Which I don't remember listening to much Prince after he became a J-Dub. That's what I call Jehovah's Witnesses, J-Dubs. Like, was his music good after that?
I don't know. Like, I don't know much about the guy. All I can talk about are the things that I know, and the things that I know are his big hits and the Batman soundtrack.
I love our friend Melissa Nichols did comedy with us at the Laugh Stop, and she had this joke that I'm just going to slaughter, but it went something along the lines of, you know, Prince becoming a Jehovah's Witness and her hoping he would knock on her door, and she would be like, "Yes, I will listen to what you have to say, but please first, can you play Pussy Control?" Which is one of my all-time favorite Prince songs.
Pussy Control.
Pussy Control. Oh, it's just the best.
I just the first time when I like started to understand Pussy Control, like I remember feeling like this weird sort of, I can only blame it on my essential Britishness. Where I was just like, oh, that's not what you need to do with a pussy. That's the wrong thing. That's not the right idea. No, that's boorish and impolite. It wasn't until I got much older that I went, you know what, I think he's talking about something, pardon the pun, but a lot deeper than that. Like, I don't think that's a straight up, like when I first heard it, I thought it was like, you got to control your woman, you know, that
right.
sort of thing. Like, and that's not what Prince meant at all. Like, it's got to be it's a strange thing, I think, for an artist like Prince to unleash those sorts of thoughts and hope that they get received the right way, because they won't. Like there's going to be so like there's dumb guys like me just out here waiting to misunderstand what the hell you're saying.
That's got to be so fun for an artist like Prince, knowing when he releases a song that 12-year-old boys are going to hear at the same time as 40-year-old men, and like the
Yep.
array of misunderstandings in between.
Yeah, how people are going to take it in. That's probably how they measure a song. It's like looking at that weird disparity. You know, how women perceive it, how men perceive it, how young people perceive it, how older people perceive it. Like that must be like the dartboard. You know, like the bullseye is somewhere right in the middle, where it's just going to be able to be bright red for all of these people.
Yeah. How fun. I wish I could do that.
It is obviously a talent. Like, or not even, it's not a talent, it's a skill. It's something that you have to hone, something you have to work on, something that you spend your whole life working on it. It's crazy to think about. I was looking at, Prince had, I think it's something like 39 studio albums. Like
Wow.
39. Like, and I think the first one came out at like 78 or something like that. Like it's a crazy high number. And I looked up, like I tried to think of like, well, who are not necessarily Prince's contemporaries, but at least like the people who started making music around the same time he did. Like Tom Petty, you know, started and then tragically passed around the same time as Prince did.
David Bowie.
David Bowie. I don't know how many albums David Bowie made, but Tom Petty made 16. And
Wow.
like Tom Petty, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the most prolific songwriters that I know. You know? And
Right.
Prince more than doubled his output. U2, one of my favorite bands, have 14 studio albums.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
Well, Prince was just a machine. Like, not only did he make his own albums, but he was just writing songs for everybody left and right. Like Manic Monday, he wrote for the Bangles, and then Nothing
I didn't know he
Compares
wrote
to-
Manic Monday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
Isn't that weird? That doesn't sound like a Prince song, but yeah.
No, but like I guess now that I think about it, it's the same thing. Like I'm kind of ashamed to tell you that I was well into my 30s before I knew that Sinead O'Connor's "Nothing Compares to You" was originally a Prince song. Oh, this is even more embarrassing. I think it was when Prince passed that I read that. Like I think it was just a few years ago. So I hadn't even heard the Prince version of that song. Like I thought it was a song. Like when I read the article that he had written, you know, Sinead O'Connor's "Nothing Compares to You," I was like, okay, well that makes more sense. Like the two "you" in that title makes more sense coming from Prince than it does coming from Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah,
but
I always thought the line
released a version of it.
I always thought the line, all the flowers that you planted, mama. Like that sounds like a Prince line, you know?
Yeah.
Not a Sinead
But once
line.
you know it,
yeah.
That was mind blowing to me, just to think that an artist like that could be behind those sorts of things.
It's like he had so much to write in him, he just couldn't even sing it all himself. He had to give some away. It's crazy. I can't imagine having that level of talent.
That level of talent, or that level of skill, that level of just like that discipline. Like, okay, this is within me. These are the things that I've learned to do, and I'm going to keep churning it out. Like I'm going to keep taking care of my engine. I'm going to keep making sure that my spark plugs are well oiled, and that everything that I need to do to keep my creativity focused is.
He's one of those people who just couldn't live any other way. They said that, you know, he learned all those instruments before he turned 15. And the first song he learned to play on the piano was the original Batman theme when he was 7 years old. And in 1989, Tim Burton enlisted him to create the soundtrack for the Batman film, which produced the hit song Bat Dance. None of this is coincidental in Prince's mind.
No, there are no coincidences. Party Man is the song that I take away from Batman. Party Man is the song that's playing when the Joker's going through the museum, destroying everything that leads up to that great Jack Nicholson line. Like,
I need to go watch that again tonight.
Toys.
Can a 5-year-old watch that? Like, I think Charlie's right. Charlie loves Batman. And I was just like, can he do Tim Burton Batman? Is it overly sexual? What is it rated?
I think it's PG-13. I saw it in the theater when I was 9.
Okay.
That was in 1989. So I would probably, Charlie has seen some things that are more extreme than that. There's no nudity or anything like that in Batman. Obviously there's a lot of violence and some dark talk and maybe some cursing, but there's no drug use or anything like that.
That's all right. My kid's already cussing, so thanks.
Well, you're raising him right.
I can't control my mouth. He picks up
You want
everything.
him to be the cool kid who knows the curse words ahead of time.
All right. Well, I mean, he loves Batman. He loves the Penguin. I'm like, okay, I think it's time. I have to show him this and introduce him to Prince at the same time.
Exactly. I do love Prince. I love the outfits that he wears. I wonder, like, what comes first, like Prince or the outfit? Like, can you imagine showing up to like your first gig, like 18-year-old Prince? Did he show up in the purple velvet?
Yes.
Really?
I think so.
So you
Well,
think that?
no, I've seen some early, like first albums from Prince, and he looks more 70s, just like basic 70s. No, yeah. No, Prince came first and then the outfit. He developed the look.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like a 25 or 26-year-old songwriter like on that same show, looking like, who the fuck does this kid think he
Look
is?
at this clown. What is this guy gonna do? And then he just blows you away.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, I get it. He's the greatest singer-songwriter ever.
Yeah,
That's one
exactly.
of my favorite Prince lines. It's one of the most famous things about him. I think it was Eric Clapton was asked in an interview once, like, what's it like to be the greatest guitar player in the world? And Clapton said, I don't know. Go ask Prince.
Yeah, which is amazing.
God, can you imagine that? Like I don't know how old Prince was when Clapton said that, but Prince getting his first record deal at 18 in 78, Clapton was already God, right? He was slow
Right.
hand. He'd been
Yeah,
slow hand for 10 years by then.
you don't see that a lot, especially from like, older greats and icons, the giving the props to the younger guys. Like usually they're trying to be like, you got to do it the way I did it. You're not doing it right. But like Prince was so undeniable. Everybody had to give him the props.
But everybody knew it. And I think, to me, I think in most people's memories, I think the most iconic Prince moment is his Super Bowl
Super
halftime in the
Bowl.
rain. Yeah,
I
doing
got
the guitar
emotional
solo.
during that. It started raining and I
Yep.
was like, this is the best performance of all time.
Did you ever see Prince at the Grammys when he performed "While My Guitar Gently Weeps"? Like it was like an all-star band. It was Prince, and I want to say it was Tom Petty
Yes.
and,
I
and
remember
Elvis
all of them on
Costello.
stage.
Yeah, and like I'm not a musician. I don't know how it works, but like I have performed live a little bit, and I could swear like Prince is the guy who's slated to do the guitar solo because Prince is the greatest guitar player alive in the world, right?
Right.
And there's a moment in it when he starts into and he's absolutely fucking killing it, and he's got the greatest musician, the greatest backing bands ever. You can kind of see him like looking at each other like sidelong, like, okay, how many more measures is he going to go? And Prince is just milking it, just like absolutely slaying. And you gotta wonder if there's part of his brain that's just like I'm going to see if these guys can really stand with me. I'm going to see if they can
Yeah.
really, really play with me. Like, are these guys honestly the greatest musicians ever? Because I know I am.
I don't think he's asking that question. He's like, they all know I know that I'm the best, and they're just gonna have to watch me go.
But there's a weird like undertow. Like when you first watch it, you're just like, okay, that's Prince trying to show these guys that he is absolutely the greatest guitar player who's ever lived. But I think beneath that is Prince challenging them, saying like I can carry this on. Like, can you guys keep playing with me? Can you keep time with me? Can you keep pace? There's an ego. There's a real level of arrogance that comes with. It's the old Bill Clinton saying, like, if you see a turtle on a fence post, it didn't get there by accident, right? Like Prince is obviously like the greatest. He's a great musician, and he was standing there, I think, on that stage paying tribute to one of the greatest musicians who's ever lived, with several of the other greatest musicians ever lived, and he was kind of asking them, like, I'm not proving this to you or the audience. You got to prove yourself to me.
Yeah.
And that's the level. Like, if you want to be you can be very good, but if you want to be the very best, you have to have that level.
Do you think he was that level in the sack? Because
I think there's a lot of burden on him to be that level.
He put so much pressure on himself to be the best in bed. You listen to like all the sexuality he has on stage and all him in the movie Purple Rain. And is it all for show? Like in the quiet hum of your bedroom ceiling fan, naked under the covers with Prince, is he just like, I can't do this. It's too much pressure.
He must. Like on some level, he must.
There's only so many ways we can do this, and I'm only so good. That's why I think he went super religious when he was getting older, or like in the 90s. He's like, I just can't live up to the pressure of sex. So people are just going to have to be like, oh, he's just really religious and we can't just get down the way.
Like, that's why he became a Jehovah's Witness. Like, I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. It's my theory.
I'm not the saddle man I used to be. Saddle man. That's a word I'm creating.
Okay.
all the connotations that go to it. I love Prince. I miss Prince. I don't know much about Prince, but Prince has touched my life in very, very important ways. And I'm really, really glad that he got to walk this earth as his best self.
I agree. All right, Ben, are you ready for our guilty pleasure songs?
I am ready for our guilty pleasure songs.
Guilty pleasures.
I feel like I'm stacking up guilty pleasure songs by female artists. And once again, this is not a song that I'm personally embarrassed about. It's just a song that I feel like I'm told I should be embarrassed about it. I'm not. But I love Hole. I love Doll Parts by Hole.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Doll Parts.
Is that the yeah, they really want you? No. Is that the same song?
Yeah, they really want you. They really want you. They really do. I love that.
Is that
the curl thing that she does? They really do.
Is that the someday you will ache like I ache? All in the same
Yeah.
song?
And that's the part that I wait for. Like that comes like 3 minutes in before she really, really unleashes it. And every time I listen to that song, it's like lighting the fuse on a stick of dynamite. Like I'm just waiting for Courtney Love to really explode with that. One day you will ache like I ache.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I didn't listen to a lot of Hole. I bet there's a lot more I would like, but that's the song that got a lot of radio play. And I was like, yeah, this is good. Like this, I can scream this along with her.
I loved it. I understood it. It's weird because there's a lot of music men that kind of like have that explosive rage, that real release moment that I don't relate to. But for some reason, like I relate to it, a hell of a lot more when a lady does it.
Oh yeah, it seems even more real. Men are expected to do it. Like I love a Lane Staley scream. I love Alice in Chains when he goes. Like I love it. But yeah. It feels even more raw when you hear it from a lady, I think. And I mean, not that you call her a lady, but you know what I mean.
I call her a lady. I thought Courtney Love was sexy in 1993. I think Courtney Love is sexy in 2020. And she didn't kill Kurt. Controversial opinion, hot take. She did not kill Kurt.
Well, I'll let you and Corbin get drunk and argue about that one night because
they were millionaire 27-year-old junkies. Weird shit happens when you're a millionaire 27-year-old junkie. I've been to parties where it's just like, oh yeah, well, how could he possibly be laying dead in your guest room for 3 days? Like, I've never been to a party that intense, but I've been to parties where we've lost people and they're just in the bathroom.
Yep, that's true. All right, my guilty pleasure song. Oh yeah. Okay, nobody should like this song. It was very, very popular, like most of these songs are. But it's so embarrassing. But it starts off real low with the ba with the ba to bang diggy to the boogie ba with the ba to bang diggy. Oh, my name is Kid. Why do I like this song? It just
did you like it? Like, did you like it then? Like when it first came out, did you like immediately like it, or has it just like grown on you as we get further?
I would tell people outwardly, like, this song is so dumb. And, he yells, my name is Kid, where I'd yell, like, no one cares. But privately, I was like, my head's moving. Like, why is this getting me hype? It's just the sound of the song. It's just the rhythm of the song. I am just a sucker for any song that just slowly rises and then, like, has that explosive moment. And
when that song was big,
does.
I remember thinking when that song was big, I think it was like 98, 99. I was like 18 or 19, I think. And I just remember like looking at it, just like, there's no way that I'm ever going to be able to succeed in this society. Like I can't, I don't relate to this at all. Like that's not going on in my brain. It's not going on in my heart. I don't know why this resonates with all these people around me. Like you're all a bunch of strangers to me.
Yeah. And okay, I'm just going to take it a step further and say that duet he did with Sheryl Crow is also very good.
Kid Rock did a duet with Sheryl Crow?
I put your picture away. I swear I'll change my ways. Yeah.
No way.
Called to say I love. Yeah, that's Kid Rock. It's very good.
Oh my God, I'm the stupidest man alive. I love Sheryl Crow. I would do, like, if I could sing it, my go-to karaoke song would be "If It Makes You Happy."
Yes.
I've tried. I try in the car all the time. That might be a guilty pleasure song for me, but I would love to be like that full throated. If it makes you happy. Sorry to suggest.
So I tried that song karaoke and I failed. It's one of those where I was like, I have a low voice. Maybe I think I can do this. And I went to karaoke with my friend Toby, who is a very, very good singer. And when I got off stage, he's also very, very honest with me. And he's like, yeah, that's not your song. Not do it well.
Guilty pleasures.
I miss Prince. And if I had any advice for everybody out there, it would be put on a poncho, pray for mosquitoes, and drink till you're thirsty again.
And go find that purple banana.
And find a purple banana.
That's a wrap on this week's episode of Rock the Cash Bar. Tune in every Monday to find out the new song of the week. Send us an email at rockthecashbarpodcast@gmail.com and tell us your personal misheard lyrics so we can read them on the podcast. You can also reach us at Twitter and Instagram at Rock the Cash Bar Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcast or wherever this podcast was downloaded.